What's happening? What's happening, YouTube world? Welcome to people. How you all doing today? I want to shout out everybody in the chat. Thank you all for coming. Checking out with me and my boy Nigel, Desired Comics. Say, I see in the chat we got El Huevos, we got Wesley's Comic Collection, hashtag Future Specs. Definitely check them out. We got N2TN Comics, maybe to the north. What's happening? From my boy Jason, who I'll be seeing later on today, claiming comics. We got Fuzzy Dunlop in the house. We got Hip Hop's and Me, my boy Steve, representing Nerd Herd. We got Desired over here in the panel and in the chat. Man, thank you all so much for coming out, man. We got Paul Morris in the house. We got Philly Born 21, Matt Woods, No Good, Jason in the house. So yeah, man. I just wanted to finally get some more content going on over here. And I hollered at my boy Nigel and I was like, yo, man, how you feeling? You wanna come over here and talk some comics and stuff. And he was like, I'm with it. So, let's go. So we're starting off these Tiger Tuesdays. And this is what we're gonna be doing, man. Just talking comics, whatever the guests want to focus on, the guests want to talk about, that's what we're gonna be sharing, man. And then we'll go into other things as it presents itself. And yeah. So Nigel, what's happening, man?
What's going on, E? Yes, sir.
All right.
Tiger Tuesdays. Let's do it.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
So
sir.
long time coming. Happy to be here. And yeah, so I wanted to reach out and go over some things. You and I kind of chatted in the back, and came up with some topics to go over. So first, you want to tell the audience, because there might be some people in here that aren't familiar with at Desired Comics on Instagram just yet.
Sure. So what's happening, chat? I am Nigel, aka Desired Comics. I've been on Instagram for about a year and a half, 2 years as Desired Comics. So it's Desired Comics, no underscores, no dots. Basically that page is just to provide content, my personal collection, as well as, just a little bit of humor here and there, some nerdy humor, some, things that pictures from the cons that I attend, comic fam kind of stuff, as well as sometimes I'll run polls, questions, asking the comic community on, certain topics. So, so that's what that page is about. It's strictly content. And I also have a sales page, because I understand that some folks don't like salesy pages. So I have a separate page for that. If you're interested, that page name is Desired Comic Shop. So I post every few weeks or so. I got a full-time job, so it's and I travel and stuff. So I haven't. I'm not on there active as some of the other folks, who are on there every day, multiple times a day. But you will see quality books here. So please check me out.
Nice. Yeah, so I'll put both of those in the description. We got at Desired Comics and at Desired Comics Shop. Let's see. And definitely check out Nigel if you aren't following him already. I want to give a shout out to some new people in the live. So we got Paul Morris in the house. We got HK Wifey 420. We got Eddie Bear. And yeah, so let's get this going, man. So we've been paying attention to what's going on in the comic book market, as far as the collectibles market. And man, it's been crazy, dude. It's been moving up and down. And it's amazing how the movies and the TV shows, everything is connected, whether it's DC, Marvel, and even with the social media outlets, we have YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and everything is connected. Any drop of news changes the market as far as the books are concerned. What have you been noticing lately? Like, what is grabbing your attention?
Yeah, that's man. So absolutely. So there's a lot of waves, as far as trends, things that motivate the market, that from what my observation anyway, and obviously the media, the movies, the cons, just supply and demand, all these things factor into the roller coaster that we're seeing, and as far as prices, I'm seeing, obviously, we all know that we hit a peak in that April, May, June kind of period there, depending on which book it was and which shows were out at the time. But since then, it's some books have taken quite a hit, as far as pricing. There's been a lot of correcting going on in the market. And it's in pockets, right? It's not all books, whereas when everything has went up over the last year and a half, 2 years or so, the overall market was up. But now it's kind of just like stocks in a stock market. It's like you got to be a good stock picker as far as, from an investment standpoint. So, it's some books are holding their weights, and then we got to look at certain books in certain grades as well. Because for example, we could talk, if you want to dive into some of the books, Eric.
Yeah. So let's pull up some of the books. So what do you want to look at first? I actually have access to GPA analysis and also Go Collect. Those are two of the sites that I use on the regular.
Excellent.
So I can keep up with the books, as is, while it's happening.
Sure. So let's look at let's pull up ASM 300. Amazing Spider-Man 300, first full appearance of Venom.
You got it. Let's see here. All right. So there we go, right there.
Okay. So if we could look at the 9.8 and the 9.6s. So we're still seeing some greens, right? But interested in seeing that. Let's go to 9.8. Expand the 9.8 there, and let's see. Okay.
Yeah.
So there we go. So as we look at this data, we'll see that look at the range in 2021 alone. The low of 4,300 and the high of 8,500. Wow. So yeah, a lot of movement. And if we expand that 2021, hey Zoris, let's I think down below. Actually, yeah, down below. I think will that do it?
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, there it is.
2021. Yeah.
Yep. So if we can go scroll down some more, yeah. So you see that April.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there you go. May 9th. There, around that May time, we hit a peak of 8,500.
Yeah.
And it's just, that was a big climb, right? And we look at 2020. That high was, what was the range? Let's just scroll down for a second.
Yeah.
You see what's that? 1,200 to 2,400. Oh, does that sound right? But anyhow, so
yeah, 1,200.
Wow.
Yeah,
1,200 to 5,750. So,
man.
So we want to look at stuff like this. The reason we're looking at this is just because, obviously this is a bellwether book, right? It's really, it's one of the gauges of the market. Unbelievable how this roller coaster's, been kind of happening. And, obviously, the ones who sold it at 8,500, congrats.
Exactly.
Good for you. But, now we're right in the, where we're at now. Go back to 2021. Sorry.
No, you're good.
The recent sales 6,200. So that's about maybe 20%, 25% down. So just kind of giving an example of what we're seeing in the market. Let's take a look at Hulk 181.
All right. So you got a question right here from Matt Woods. He said, do you guys think ASM 300 at a 9.8 is a long-term hold, or would you sell now? So honestly, like what we were just looking at, because it looks like it's starting to take like a slight dip now, right around there. But we still have the movie on its way out. And I saw that they have moved that out to October now. So, we're not getting it as soon as we thought we were. And who knows what they're doing, or whether they're making some changes, whether they're, who knows. But I know that that's going to actually, have an effect on that, right?
Yeah, I think so. As far as, the addressing a long-term hold, I have two copies. I don't have a 9.8. I have a 9.6, and I have an 8.5. And I'm holding on to those. I just think that that book, in general is an extremely solid book, and it really paved the way for this chapter in modern comics. As far as one of the most iconic characters in this era. So I really think that I would say it's a long-term hold, especially if you have a 9.8. When we look at other books, the other bigger books, like your Hulk 181s and books like that, how as far as pricing and how those thresholds that it's broken, and I really think that long term we will see that with that ASM 300.
Yeah, so I would definitely hold that, unless, like you said, you have more than one copy. Like that person who had the 8500, they did it right on time.
Oh
And
yeah,
but it may come back up again. The closer we get to October now. So
right.
if you have more than one copy, definitely pace yourself and see what's best for you. And what you're dealing with, and that's always a book to have for the PC, regardless, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you say you want to take a look at 181.
Yeah, take a look at Hulk 181 for a sec. Just maybe around that 9294. I think you got to put the pound sign in front of the 181.
Oh yeah, that's right, huh?
Yeah.
So for those that aren't familiar with this site, this is a GPA analysis. You can get a paid subscription to this if you choose. It's a really good resource because they check all the auctions and they're a little bit more up to date. Especially if you're buying and selling, it gives you a range to work with. It gives you an idea of what's going on. Let's see here. So we have the one. It's so funny. I actually have this in my main screen. I don't know why I'm jumping around.
Right, because you're one of the lucky folks who has a copy. I unfortunately do not have a copy at the
Well, the
moment.
crazy part is, if you look right here, these are some saved titles where, which we'll be getting into later, like how you put your list together and actually, put a strategy together and follow through on it, take action with that. So when I got back into collecting, that was one of my main points of activity or main points of action. Like that's my goal, the 181, and I'm gonna do what I need to do to get that, as far as buying and selling other books that were good books. And shout out my buddy Omega Comics that just showed up in the chat, man. He's one of my longtime comic book community friends who I met like at the very beginning stages, and really helped my learning curve. And that's what's great about this comic book community. We all look out for each other, and help those that are new, to collecting, which can help a lot of downfalls that might take place.
Yeah,
So
it's an amazing thing, man, just to see how the comic community has really come together, especially during the pandemic, and the amount of information that we're sharing with each other to make to help each other become more more avid collectors. So okay, so let's see here. So let's look at the 9.4s and 9.2s, yeah, because I've been kind of seeing those sales. We can either one we can look at initially.
All right. Well, I'm gonna jump into the 9.2. Go to the higher. We'll see what we're looking
9.4 then. Okay.
We'll jump into 9.4.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what you got there now. So, but yeah, if we see like the range here, so we got what's that, 15,600 to 22.8, right? And then the most recent sale recorded in GPA is 18.6. So, from what I'm seeing here is, and look at that, it's still way higher than a year ago, right? I mean, we're talking even at 18.6 from 10,000 from the high sale last year, you're talking 80% up, even with the correction. So, did these books run up a little too much? Probably so. Very good chance we could agree to that. But right now, what would you do with a book like that? It just depends. I mean, from my understanding, talking even like a PJ Morris, a guy who's a collector who's had that book since, he's had it. I think he paid like $400 or $500 for it. You got that kind of, you have that minimal investment into it. it's not bad at all. It's fantastic. But if you're buying a book like that, and yeah, we're looking for Mephisto. Absolutely, Paul. Yep. Might be under my damn sofa here, but but yeah, when you're looking at a book like this, obviously, you got to look at what money you have into it, right? So, the folks who bought it recently, took a little shave in there. If you bought it within the last 6 months or so, long-term hold, yeah, of course, we all know Hulk 181's a good long-term hold. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Omega's right on. We all know that book is going nowhere in the history of collecting. So, it's just a matter of your buy-in point, buy on the dips, right? So, I mean, we see a dip now. Is it going to go down lower? Maybe. Is the overall economy potentially going down? Yes, we know that's going to happen. So is that going to affect the market as well? Probably so. It's just a matter of having the conversations like Eric and I are having right now, just staying aware of where we at, So that one took a hit from 22.8 to 18. That's a good $4,000, $4,000 right there,
Man.
So that's a couple bucks there. Let's take a look at that 9.2.
All right. So what is basically showing us, it's all about timing, but at the same time, you need to do your research. So if you're keeping up with everything at the same time, paying attention to what's coming as far as like the news, as far as like the trailers, we haven't even gotten X-Men. All we got was There Will Be Mutants. And that was enough to make the market go crazy, right?
Yeah. It's out of control. So here's this 9.2. So the range on this is what? You got 7,200 to 19.8. Wow. That's this year alone. That's in the first 8 months of 2021. Wow. So, as we can see, and then the most recent sales, 13.2. So wow, that's quite a shaving off the high there.
It really is.
So it's just, again, as you can see, it's a steep decline in the last probably month or so, couple months, and so it's just being aware of what things are. The FOMO can get us all, and we definitely want to have conversations. That's why you got comic fam like us out here. Have these conversations where, all of us are approachable. We're all could be able to contact you, the DMs. We have conversations with Eric. We talk regularly as well as other folks. There's video chat on there. You ain't got to share your number.
Right.
You can do a video chat through a DM. So, but yeah, this is oh yeah, absolutely. Hit that like button, smash it. So yeah, just I want to talk about a couple books here just to kind of give people an idea. Okay, here we go. Let's see.
Matt Woods.
The market is looking for X-Men without any real news. Yeah, who finds a way? Right.
That's right on point right there.
That's it right there. Yeah. I would say so, Matt. No doubt about it.
Matt Woods knows.
Matt Woods knows. He has a great channel as well.
Exactly.
Great channel as well. Follow that guy as well. Definitely subscribe to him. He's an awesome guy. Actually met up with him recently to look at a collection, and it was our first time meeting. And it was awesome. Nice. He this is what the comic fam is about, right? We've been all communicating over the last year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, however long, and then we're meeting in person, just like you and I met, and last month. It's like we never missed a beat. It was like BFFs, and we just picked right back up.
Yes,
unbelievable. Yeah. So yeah, it's just awesome to see. Like I said, just like we said, just you still want to, obviously with prices coming down, we want to watch what's going on, keep having these conversations, watch the data. Obviously, GPA is not the only source for data, as Eric mentioned. We talking about, his Go Collect as well. We're looking at, there's, we'll talk about that in a sec as far as other options.
Yeah.
Also, I want to talk about other keys. I saw, the first Falcon, when that book, man, whew,
that's one that slipped away from me, man.
Yeah.
That's another thing, it's like, we see a lot of people within the community. We see people on social media, Instagram, even now TikTok. We see people with books, but it's still books that everyone doesn't have. Even a person that has, all the books that you may feel like, it's still some books that they're chasing.
Right.
I was on the mission, could have had the Falcon, but went another direction. And then lo and behold, right when they see it on the show, that's when everybody goes crazy, right?
Yeah, but so it went through the stratosphere, and then it actually has come down quite a bit. I want to say 8.5 is down maybe probably 35% or so. But yeah, so I mean, but so is that at the time to buy? Maybe it might be a good time to start looking.
Right.
In my opinion, because the next Falcon movie isn't the actual Captain America movie isn't going to be out for at least a few years. When he's actually he goes into the MCU as Captain America.
You know what? I want to show another site. I'm gonna pull up the Go Collect.
Sure.
So let's do this. Let's just start screen with that one. And everybody bear with me. we're learning on the fly, but hey, it's all about having fun, man. I'm definitely doing that. So I appreciate everyone coming out, taking the time out your day to come hang out with us. And boom. So here's another website you can use, Go Collect. It's not as up to date as the GPA analysis, but it still gives you a range and idea and figures of things to work with. And Captain America number, what number is that, Nigel? It
I
slips
think it's
right now.
it's in the teens, 117 or 114 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
There you go. 117 right on the ball.
Right.
And it's funny, man. It's like I've memorized covers and things like that. So when I'm out on the hunt, and I'm doing better with certain numbers.
Yeah.
So this one wasn't in the data banks like that.
Yeah. So what I know,
still salty.
yeah, I was looking at the 8.5 earlier, and 8 or 8.5 there.
That's okay. I'm gonna have to come back to that. Let's see.
Okay.
Get that right quick.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Nice. Thanks, N2TN Comics. Appreciate you. I see. Can I highlight stuff too, or no?
Yeah, I think you can.
Let me see. N2.
Is it not letting you?
Nah.
Which one are you trying to highlight?
The N2TN.
Oh, there we go. I see it. I got you.
Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate you. N2TN. Yeah. I'll definitely follow you back if I'm not already following you.
Yeah, that's neighbor to the north, man.
Nice.
Canadian buddies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, man. And I do a lot of traveling. So there's a very good chance I'll be at an LCS near you. That's to everybody in the chat.
There you go. That's awesome. Here we go. Boom. All right. So got that. And now you'll see, like, I got books over here that I was, in my hunting list. Marvel Spotlight 5, Amazing Spider-Man 129, 180, FF52.
Nice. That book has not gone down. No. That one has stayed up.
Nope.
Yeah, that one's one of my favorites.
Yeah. So I had access, and I was like, okay. So I was building up for the one that I wanted. And then the bad news of Chadwick Boseman happened,
right?
And it went through the roof.
Yeah.
So I mean, regardless, that'll be one for the PC, man. So I'm still gonna get that eventually.
Oh yeah, I posted a 5.0 on my page last week, and I'm definitely that's definitely a PC book, and it's I'll definitely be looking to get more copies or even upgrade. That's without question.
Yeah.
So how do we look at Go Collect? I mean, I'm familiar with Go Collect. Okay. I'm not currently a subscriber to Go Collect as far as the paid service, but I do see these charts and stuff, and I see the
Right.
grades, obviously. If you could break that down, please.
So okay, so with Go Collect, what I do, I go in because I can move a little bit faster with Go Collect. Now that is one difference with Go Collect and GPA. So it can just give me a range, but what I check both. I check both sites, so I can stay up to date on both sides. But it gives you, the auctions, and it lets you know like what a book sold for, when it sold. And I was told, I actually found out the other day with Skeleton Key Comics and Rage Theo when they were having their YouTube discussion, and they brought up a point that I didn't even know, but it's on a 48-hour lag. So this site is on a 48-hour lag because they give it time for, let's say, if it's a sale gone wrong or a sale that doesn't go through, it gives it time for it to actually take place. So then that way, their numbers are a little bit more accurate, and they don't have a lot of those extra numbers out there where, it didn't even happen. So they can kind of shuffle it around. So you have eBay sales, Heritage Auctions, Comic Connect, Comic Link. So, and it gives you a range where you can, take an average, over some sales. And then you have your charts over here on the side for like the blue labels, the yellow labels, which I know you're a fan of for those signature series.
Oh yeah,
But
I'm
it
a yellow
even
label
has,
guy.
yeah, it even, which is what I like, it has the restored and the qualified, which are the purples and the greens. Because
Wow.
it's like, a lot of people, those are like, stay away from those books. But at what we were just looking at on GPA analysis, how long are these books going to be those stay away books?
Right.
It's like things are starting to get out of range, and that book, especially if it's something you want for your PC, may be the best thing to take a look at it, even if it's just a placeholder until you can get to that point where you can get the book and grade that you want, and it may end up being some trade value in those type of books later on down the line. So that's another thing to pay attention to and to look at. And I look at all of those. So
Yeah, and also Eric, I think as far as restoration goes, my opinion is to also to look at what type of restoration work is done on it, because there are options for you can have that restoration removed.
yes,
And see, if you want a blue label, or if you just want a raw book or whatever, without the restoration, it is possible to, depending on the type of restoration work that was done on the book.
that's right. That's right. You have a lot of awesome pressers and cleaners out there that can remove those restorations. That's 100%. I got a modern book and had a restoration, and it ended up being like color ink on the corner, and I couldn't even see it, dude.
Wow.
It blew my mind that someone did that to me. But you know what? Came back in 9.6, purple label. My daughter likes what is it? The new Ironheart. So it's her
Okay.
first appearance. So I gave that to her, man. Charge it to the
Sure.
game. That's one of the things that happens. And when
Right.
you got to pay attention to everything.
So let's look at this. Let's look at the 8.5.
Correct.
And let's just kind of see. So how do we dive into the data as far as the sales, and are we able to see like the prices over the course of a period of time to see if it's going up and down? Like I believe I saw that recently. But
Okay, so with this, they have the different dates, the different ones, and then you can click on the actual book where you can pull it up yourself
oh, okay.
and actually take a look at those books. That's another feature. Let's see here. Let's see if we can click on that stuff. So this one, I'm gonna be honest. Like when I'm looking at sales, I look
Yeah.
at this and then I go into GPA.
Okay.
Because just like how we were discussing earlier, and I couldn't remember Captain America 117, but I
Sure.
know what the book looks like. I know the cover.
Yeah.
If I need to move a little faster.
I
Another
see
thing
the
you can
trend
do
here too. I'm looking at
on
it
the
here.
right
See,
side.
8 down 21%. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, you're good. You're good. So
I was just looking
that's
at
another
that.
part of it. So what I did was I clicked on the sell history analyzer, and that's where you have your trends over there when it has more than one sale on it. But look at that, you got 9.6 back in was that June?
Yeah.
And that's what you were talking about earlier. That May June time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then see how it's showing the 8.5 down 21%, the 8.0 down 12%.
Mhm.
And then obviously these books have been running. They've run. They've run up quite a bit. In some cases double, triple, quadruple. Depends on the book, obviously.
Right, right. And then like how I was telling you earlier, how you like the signature series. So I'll just, change that and then get out of the universal and then submit that. And then it gives you the update on this side. So you see the different trends. The
Yeah.
signature
Okay.
series are all up.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to talk about too. So as far as I guess we could mention it now. So from what
Mhm.
I'm seeing is, obviously we see a correction in the market with overall in the market, but obviously it's more of a comic an issue pickers market, let's say, instead of like a stock pickers market. Um, but what I've also seen is, from my observation, is the signatures books with yellow labels haven't gone down
No.
for the most part. They have not gone
No.
down. In fact, Stan Lee's signature specifically has gone up in value
Oh my God, yes.
even now. It's gotten his sig. It depends on the book too. Obviously, if it's a key or one of those grills, that signature is even adding thousands to the value.
It is.
And it's just interesting to see. But yeah, the signatures aren't going down. I've also seen trends in folks buying more foreign books, as well as these Canadian price variants, the double covers, that kind of stuff. Those haven't gone down.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh. I'm
if
still
any,
looking for a double cover.
oh yeah, okay, yeah, I have a few multiple covers. I saw,
Nice.
is it Godly Comics? He posted a 6 cover.
I saw that.
Well, unbelievable, man. I own double and triple covers, but I've seen a quadruple
Hmm.
Hulk 340 quadruple cover, but 5 and 6 covers, wow,
Yep.
amazing. But those kinds of books, when we talk about diversifying your collection and stuff, having those things that so your collection everything isn't taking a dive.
Right, right.
I saw a couple questions. It was N2. He said, and I think we had kind of addressed. He says, "How do you feel about keeping a purple label for the PC?"
Yeah,
I still have that kind of. I stay away from the purple labels, but as
yeah.
we mentioned, I just want to make sure we're clear on this. As we mentioned, if a book has gotten out of reach, and you have the ability to get a purple label book or a restored book, you can definitely get, depending on the restoration that's done to it. Yeah. I mean, as Eric said earlier, as I even have it as a placeholder. As we see the ups and downs in the market, maybe those purple label books will go up. And you don't have as much money into those books, and
Right.
then you can get a blue label, or if it's staying in your collection, who cares? I mean, it depends on how you feel about that.
And
Uh,
then if it's staying in your collection too, you could crack it, and then it's just a raw copy. But
right.
like
Then
you
we'll have
said, if you can pull up those notes, then you can see what that restoration might have been.
exactly, and that's what I'm seeing there. I mean, we'd have to call out the slab crackers, Morbius and PJ Morris.
That's right.
I'm not cracking any slabs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it up to those professionals over there.
Yeah. I've done a few slabs slab
Right.
cracks in my day. So yeah, I'm not scared. So I can show you some tips, some tricks, save you some money.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
I saw Perpetual Comments was asking, are all these options available to subscribers on Go Collect? And yes. So you just have to play around with the features. You got the about, analyzer, modelers, and list, and build your watch list. That's another thing that's cool with this site. You can put your watch list together, and that's how you keep up with what's going on.
Right.
So yeah, and then you have tickets. And listen, I got a little guest appearing right here. So let's see here. and then you can create your list as much and as less as you want, and you can that way you can keep up with it as you go along, so you can deduct, once you got that book, you can remove it from the list.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back to GPA analysis.
Okay. While you're doing that, I did see Matt Woods ask a question earlier about GPA. He's,
Okay.
I think it was something along the lines of how far back does GPA hold, as far as historic data or data. I can't remember exactly. I want to say it's at least 10 years. I'm sure it's over 10 years or so, but I'm not sure. How far back, but I know it does go back at least, I want to say 10 years plus.
Nice.
Okay. Fuzzy Dunlop, I see Desire Comics. What gives you the biggest buzz finding a book for the first time or upgrading a key you already own? Oh, one of the two, either or. So that's what was that? Sorry.
No, you good.
Finding a book for the first time or upgrading a key. So I'm a particular, the way I collect, I'm usually going after the upgraded book from jump, because, in doing that, I'm like, when you look at the time value of money and the time value of assets, which are collectibles, obviously. So, the time that it takes, it's a calculation, right? It's the time that it takes for me to get the money up, depending how the value that we're looking at, and the estimated time that I would think that it would take for me to upgrade it. I do that calculation. So let's just say, for example, if a book like I'll give you a perfect example, actually. I got a couple weeks ago, I posted on Instagram my Amazing Spider-Man 14.
Okay.
It's a 7.0 blue label. It is the first appearance of the Green Goblin. So I ended up, was able to scrape some money together, and I bought that book in maybe like late fall, early winter in 2020. It's not going to be on GPA because it was a private sale.
Nice.
But yeah. So, so basically,
that's a good thing to bring up, so that's not calculated.
Yes, like private sales happen all the time, especially if you, as we all communicating and building relationships in the comic community. And this is one of the purposes of as far as my presence in social media with comics is really to, I have this idealistic mentality, this kind of utopia where we could all just do business with each other. We're giving money away to the Feebays of the world and this company and that company. And I don't knock those companies. Hey, if that's, if it works and it allows people to come together to create a transaction, that's awesome, But I just think that the more we network and the more we build this community, we'll be able to find those keys and those books that we all need in our collections a lot easier and a lot cheaper, simply put.
And we were talking about that yesterday. So I just saw Philly Born's question: does it do raw scores as well? What I've noticed is it only does slabs, so it has your graded books. And for raw scores, that's one thing I'm working on. Behind the scenes, is getting better as far as grading the raw books, knowing what to look for. I picked up already ordered the Oxford grading guide. Shout out, like I said, that was an awesome YouTube yesterday with Rage Theo and Skeleton Key Comics, Tony over there. They gave a lot of information on buying and selling books, so I picked that up yesterday, but I've been teaching myself, and then we send them off to CGC and see if our grade that we came up with is the same thing that they're sending back to us. But that was a whole nother conversation right there, right, Nigel, as far as how long they're taking.
Oh man, yeah. So let me make sure I answer these. We'll definitely want to address that. So let me finish that question on that ASM.
Which
on the
one?
ASM, on the ASM 14. So let me just finish real quick. So I bought the book. I scraped some money together, and I bought that book for like $3,500, late fall last year. And I knew that book was going to move. And the reason I knew that is because the market was moving, but that book for some reason was not moving at the time. And the way I buy books, I'm looking at GPA. I'm looking at, in fact, yeah. Oh, you got it up here, man. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's what I did. That's
Oh,
what I
that's
did.
awesome, man. Awesome.
So
Can we go to 7-0?
I actually grabbed the exact one you're talking about right now.
Yeah, appreciate it. So let's look at the 7.0.
7.0. There we go.
Yeah. So if we look at a 7.0, and I'll show you guys my thought process on this. All right. So scroll down. So if you look at this, guys and gals, comic fam.
That's right.
So when you look at this, I said, okay, this was 2020 at the time, right? So I'm like, okay, well, Green Goblin was in a movie, but but obviously he's a key. Obviously, he's Spider-Man's most formidable foe, arguably.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I always wanted this book. So I started doing the homework. I was looking at GPA, and I'm like, hold up here. It's 2020. Books are going through the roof, but this book, it hasn't moved, and it's always. And if you look at it from 2020, even back down to 2017, 2018, the price was the same.
Right.
Around the same, around that $20,000 hundred, $3,000 range. I'm like, hold up here.
Right.
Here is an opportunity, where I can get a key, and I would say it's a major key, in my opinion. I mean, Spider-Man Rogue Gallery, let's just face it, they're big books. So I said, all right, you know what? I saw this and I said, okay, here's an opportunity. This book hasn't jumped yet. I got to get it now. So to answer, I forget who it was, a Perpetual, I believe. Somebody asked that. Who asked the question? Sorry. So basically that's how I kind of look at it. The time value of money. So if a book has not moved and it's a key, especially in this market, where you got folks who are not from the community coming in to invest and throw money in, and pump and dumpers and these kind of folks or whoever, you got to just keep doing your homework. That's what Eric mentioned as far as, being strategic and sticking to your guns with your goals and that kind of thing. So, but that was the thought process with that. So getting the higher grade is usually my thing. I'm more excited about getting that one because I put that much more work into getting it up front. And I believe you make your money on the front end. I've always been that way. I'm a business guy. We're business folks here, as far as collectors, even if you're just collecting a book, if you're collecting, you're not selling the books, you're still you're still making a transaction.
That's right.
So we're still doing business.
Yeah.
So,
even if you're holding it for your kids later.
Absolutely. So, that's how I look at books. I hope that was really helpful to folks in the chat and whoever's watching the replay. So that's, there's still opportunities like that now. You just got to maybe dig a little deeper.
Right. And no, that was right on the ball, man, because you can see chart if you want to see the numbers, you can go into more detail. But like you said, you were keeping up with it, and then you put your strategy together and your game plan, and you pounce right at the right time,
Oh yeah, so now it's right around 7,000. The high was like 8,500. Even though it's come down, it's still double from what I bought it for. You know
what? You actually made those moves before more information started coming back with the new Spider-Man movie we're headed into. Because who would have even thought about that piece of information that we have now that, it's going to be, mixed with the old movies that, we weren't even thinking about. And like you said, that's always been a key character right there.
Absolutely. And even to take it a step further, I remember Reggie Collects, mentioned something on his show last year about Norman Osborn.
Yep.
And he mentioned that was a Blue Ocean book, man. I hopped on that thing quick. I noticed, I'm like, man,
I was there.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So, and that same thing happened with that book. So, it's not just doing your own homework. It's also communicating amongst the comic fam, staying in touch, staying abreast of the market with, there's some excellent shows. We were watching, Eric, we were talking about this last night, right? Skeleton Keys and Rage Theo last night, talking about how to sell books and, those guys are awesome. I was able to meet them as well the same week that you and I met. in SoCal, and you know, so it's just a matter of getting the information out there and being open to listening. You know, you got to listen, you know, and try to process it yourselves.
So shout out Michelle, Moonlit Comics. Here's a good question. How do y'all suggest tracking raw sales? Is there any sort of database like we have for graded sales? Now, I just Cover Price, yes. So the Cover Price app. So that one, that's one that I don't think I have access to. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't have Cover Price, but I do look at it. I know a few other YouTubers who I believe they're sponsored by Cover Price, and they provide. Cover Price is I would say it's out. You know, I haven't done the homework yet to confirm this, but I want to say it's pretty timely with information like GPA. And if that's the case, it's one of the better ones on the market, in my opinion, because then you also include the raw book aspect as well, the raw sales.
Right.
You know, but as far as tracking raw sales, I would so Cover Price would be one, and then I would also obviously, you know, you'd have to look at eBay and just to kind of see too, because you want to look and see what those books actually look like when you're saying if it's a VG or a VF or VF plus, kind of actually make that determination for yourself as well. You know
what? I actually I gave myself less credit than I should have. I actually do have access to Cover Price.
Oh, so, no kidding.
Yeah, this is crazy. So basically, when I got in, I was consuming information, you know, left and right, shows. You know, I was doing my homework, getting out there because, like I said, I put a game plan together. Like we were talking about earlier, you know, I was one of the lucky ones to get 181 before, you know, things got even crazier. But yeah, so I have access to, I think, all the apps. Some I use more than others, but we do have access to Cover Price. So this is one where I'll probably have to, you know, do a little bit more homework as far as the ins and outs. But I know we know a lot of other channels that, like you said, are sponsored and focused on them. And yeah, so.
Yeah, so what I see with Cover Price, I've looked at, I guess you want to put in a book there, or you want to just to see what, let's look at, let's see if we can pull up G.I. Joe. I don't know if you may have to put G.I. period Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Right. And I see Comics Talk Weekly. Hey, man, say he's got 6,000 books in their database, because I know that's pretty awesome. It takes that. You definitely made some time to do that, which you benefit from, right? Because you basically, with all the moves in the market, the timeliness of the information, it really tells you the value of your collection of the data, as far as the books that you actually put into their system. You know, I have opinions on that as far as you know, putting books into the system. I'd have to read. I'm not at that comfort level yet, personally. You know, and I'm actually glad we're talking about this, because you know, I'd like to see what their privacy statements are, their privacy policies are, you know, because these are private companies. These aren't public companies. And, you know, even public companies, you know, their privacy statements, you know, if you're using the data for other uses, I'd like to know that.
Right.
You know, as far as what you know that I own, I would say that's sensitive information. It's my opinion. But I'd have to dive in.
It's a valid point. It's a valid point. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, were we able to find the old?
I'm looking for the original, but I'm seeing some of everything else.
Yeah, we may have to. So, what about put it? Okay, or maybe something that's easier to, maybe Hulk 340 or something. Oh, there we go. Yeah, these actually. You know what? This is good. No, I mean, just. We can look at this because this breaks down. I'm familiar with this setup. Look at Batman, that Batman book, far right.
That Poison Ivy?
Yeah. So this should give us data on the slabs, as well as, look at that. That's a raw comic. It's X-Men 10. Okay. Omega, that's I would say that's a good book. I had a raw copy of that back in the day, and regret selling it. It was at least a 9092. Definitely need to look into joint at Cover Price.
All right. So here we go. So like you said, it's got some key information on there. You got the cover, title, issue number, date of the book, and then we saw it's in like the top 10, top 20 right now.
Yep.
It lets you know it's a key comic, first appearance of Poison Ivy. Now that's awesome. You get a little bit more. Each one, as you notice, does different things. We got the last
Yeah.
recorded sales values.
Does it go into the graded books below?
Let's
if you
see.
scroll down,
it does right here. So graded fair market values. Sales average 5.5.
Yeah, there's usually more information on the graded. I don't know if there's levels to the subscription or. Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. If you scroll down some more, that 9.8. So I remember that. So that's another book that I bought. This is another book that I bought last year for the same reason. So when I saw this one for a slightly different reason. When that announcement came up for the 9.8 that sold for 90,000, I said, hold up here. There's got to be a correction in the market for that specific issue. So I saw that same data. I looked at the data again on an 8. I have an 8.5. So an 8.5, it's actually higher than that value that's showing in there. So that's the thing with cover price too. As far as FMV, I typically look at GPA as far as the current price here.
Right. Because GPA is a little bit more accurate, more up to date.
Yes, timely, absolutely.
It's more timely, yeah.
So this is the same thing with this book. I bought it for about $3,000, and it's definitely more than 3,000 now. I can tell you that. It's a ghost above a 7.
It's very hard to find that in a good value.
High grade with that red cover.
I've seen the low grades.
Oh yeah, they're used. You find low grades all over, but anything above a 7, you won't. It's a little tougher. The higher up the grade you get, but
and as far as the market itself, is like some of the higher grades, is dropping a little bit, but then you have those lower grades is going up. It's more sales.
Right.
But this is also how you got the raw average over here, 367 fair market value. So it gives you a range, gives you an idea, but you still have to do your research, do your homework, but this is an additional tool that you can use.
Absolutely. I see Paul Morris made a comment here about raw books, but hey man, I'm not going to front on here. I will not sit here and tell a lie. I will not fib, none of that. Ain't no nose growing here, no Pinocchio happening here.
That's right.
So folks like the guys who it's obviously one of the big things you got it to be a good raw grader. That I am not. That is one of the things that one of my goals over the next year or two is to become a better raw grader. But in the meantime, we have folks like your Paul Morris, like your Eric Azoris, like these other folks who have information and have the experience on grading raw books. And I was actually even listening to Skeleton Keys and Rage last night. How Sammy she's an excellent raw grader. And that's a big deal. And and then from what the consistent info I've heard as far as being getting schooled up or getting up to speed on grading raw books is to get the Overstreet, right? Get the Overstreet a book. It teaches you all of the range of each grade and how you detect and how do you
so you have your Overstreet price guide, but then you also have your Overstreet grading book where they go over, all the ins and outs and things to look for that they do over at CGC, CBCS, and easy all the other companies. There's a lot of other ones out there. So man, it's definitely a good tool to have in your belt, to know how to do that, especially when you're out on the hunt, because that's how you get the deals, because you already know how to do that. You have the eye for it, and you may see something in the middle of nowhere up on the wall, and
exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. So that's the thing. Raw grading. It's the key to that. As we know, it's a fact. If you can grade really well, grade raw books really well, like a Paul Morris, he is, or Morbius or Eric here. So, if you can grade really well and you see that a seller undergraded it and you get a good price for it, then you're almost guaranteed a win. And that's really the thing, and that's one of my goals.
Right.
I'm one of those guys who was fortunate to have had a good streak of good income and was able to just do it the lazy way, and the easy way is to just buy the slabs, or some books that actually, if it's a raw book, I can tell if it's over a 9.0, you know what I mean? But when it gets above, if I think from like a 9.0 to 9.4, or 9.6, I won't say something's a 9.8. That part you just kind of have to leave it to the grading gods,
Right. But it's like you said, it's good to have, and then also to be cool with your cleaner and presser, unless you're a cleaner and presser yourself. That's another good tool to work towards and have in your belt. And like you said, I'm working on all these things. That's the goal for this year into the next. To have these things under my belt, because then you're not scared to crack the slab, because you already saw from what you're able to face value, what you're able to see straight out by looking at it, but also from the notes that you were given, whether you have room to fix those things, imperfections, to make it better, and to take that chance where it's not, you're not gambling with that chance of taking to try to get that upgrade. You already know you're going to get it, and that makes the deal even better too.
Absolutely, that is spot on, man. And that's and those deals, that's where the money's made, right there. Exactly what you said there. You find those opportunities. I mean, it takes some work, but you know what? Are you willing to take an hour or two or a few hours a month or every couple weeks to go do some hunting and to save thousands of dollars? I would say it's worth your time.
100%. See, I had to click on this one right here, Perpetual Comics, over at the Killer Comics Show. Definitely check those guys out. Azor, is any plan to take us all to class soon? The X-Men deep dive with some of the best content this year. While you bring that up, I'm actually working on one right now as we speak behind the scenes, and that'll be a recorded video that I'll be putting out pretty soon. So thank you for that.
That's awesome.
Nigel, how you doing, man? We coming across the hour mark, man.
I'm good, man. We can keep it going. Yes, sir.
So let's see here. That was cover price, man. So see, I found my my lost login for cover price.
No, that's great. This is, and all these things that we have 3 tools here that we're looking at, and obviously, folks, we want it's a comprehensive approach to evaluating, to putting valuations on these books. As you see, several different sources, softwares that have this data. Obviously, you still want to talk to folks in the comic community, because you can look at this data, but you know what is, if a book continues to trend higher, and and then you're like, well, okay, well, is this the top or what and whatnot? Then you want to. I encourage folks to have conversations with other comic fam in the community.
Yes.
Just so you can get opinions on their feel of the market and that specific issue, as far as, whether you wanted to dive in or, enter it at that price point.
Right. So shout out Michael Ackery. This was another one of the awesome websites, man. I used to watch this guy with mystery boxes back when I was into mystery boxes real heavy. And what he did, he took what he gathered from all the other ones and he made a better one. And I was riding with him as long as I could. But definitely check out Michael Ackery, man. He has awesome boxes, awesome videos, man, awesome information.
Oh, no kidding. I'm gonna sub him up. Absolutely. Yep. So we talked about CGC and CBCS. You want to dive into that a little bit? You want to talk a little bit about that? Or?
Yeah. So let's see. So we know. Actually, I can just go. Did you want to stay on Cover Price app or?
No, I mean, really, we could stay. I mean, either one of these. I really wanted to talk about, the different, what's happening with those companies right now.
Yeah.
So we can let's just go for it.
Let's just talk. So, I just leave this up here. Basically, I actually have some books still there which I'm sure there are a lot of people that might be in the live right now that still have books there, and a few people, are getting their books back. I sent because what I do, I go through cleaner presser I use, and he ships them for me, and then they send them back. So I did this. I want to say April, and I still haven't gotten the books back. And it
Ooh,
wasn't a
wow.
lot of books. I say maybe a good like four or five, you
Okay.
know. And
Yeah.
because I was trying to have them ready so I could do some unboxings, things like that, you know. But yeah, so I slowed down sending anything to
Oh yeah,
CGCs, man.
same here.
It's yeah,
This is like a record low for me as far as the number of books I have at CGC. I usually have a rotating, it's number of sets of books. Most of us, or some of us, do, right? As far as the slab guys, slab folks.
yeah.
Right now, I have just 6 books there, and those are all from signings because what we're seeing now, the only thing that's pretty much guaranteed as far as the short lead times are the signings. And, if you look on their site on CGCs or CBCS, that's typically about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's 8 weeks if you include a press at CCS, but you're basically looking at, see, mine has been there since May, exactly. So, so the only books I have in there right now, I have some ASM stuff with Ramita, signed books coming back. I have Roy Thomas and I have Francesco Mattina. Those are the three artists that I have that should be coming back way quicker than to get books graded, get blue labels. So I personally am waiting until they get their stuff together over there, both companies really, because with the huge amount of money coming into the market for as far as buyers, as far as new people coming into the hobby and investors and stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of dealers, submitting 300 books at a time and stuff like that. When you that's not sustainable as far as the way those companies were set up. So, so hence me waiting. And, oh, this is great. Yeah, what do we got here?
So I pulled up the CGC website. Like I told you, I got all of it, man. So, but I wanted to show, what are they actually saying that their current turnaround times are. So we have for modern books, which they're stating at 75 to the present, 97 days, 97 working days.
Working days.
So that's the key, keywords there, and then fast track, which is what I always do, isn't that much difference. You got 81 days right there, man.
Wow.
So that's close to, what do we say? That's almost 3. Well, they're saying 3 months, but from what you and I and everyone else is, it's not like that right now.
Yeah. I mean, wow, 100, 3, 4, 81 days. So you're basically talking 20 days. So 4 months, and that's from when they show received.
When they show received,
right?
That's another one. That's another, because you'll see that it landed there, but then they haven't logged it in yet or whatever.
Right. So then you got economies. What at 100 and is that 157 days?
157 days. I slipped up and forgot to do fast track a while back, and I got to see the difference between fast track and economy, and it was believe it or not, it was when I had my Miles Morales, my Ultimate Fallout 4, and I was like, what the heck is taking so long? And that's what happened. It went economy instead of fast track.
Wowzers.
Yeah. And then for all of that to happen, it came back a lower grade than I wanted. It came back at 9.2, but we all know the grade of heart on there. But I mean, like you said, you got standard
at 77 days. What? Yeah. Express at 7. So Express used to be, I want to say less than a week. Mm-hmm. I think it was 3 days or something like that, or 7 days, 17. I mean, but you're paying for that, and that price used to be $90, I think, $90 to $100. Now it's $120, and right. So the price has gone up, and the lead time has gotten longer.
Right. Now look at this. You got your walkthrough. Shout out to all my Florida people. You got your walkthrough is 13 days. Do you know if I lived in Florida, they would know me over there. Because I mean, you can't beat that, dude. And
Yeah.
you know, we saw that, you know, he pretty much got purchased by some larger companies and some big names involved in everything. And honestly, what I'm hoping we get out of that is we get a West Coast division. You know, we get a, you know, out of country division. You know, things like that, because that'll basically just help the hobby. So that's what I'm hoping, that, you know, we get some more things to help the collectors out of all of
Yeah.
this. But I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's going to take time, but yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I agree with you, Eric. I think that you know, when now that the business has gone corporate, basically, you know, those are things that consultants come in and look at, and those are basically you know, they're kind of like no brainers, but we would hope that they would want to, you know, listen and take those steps, and I'm pretty confident that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
as far as expanding the
Have
operation.
you ever done the pre-screen?
You know what, man? I've never done it. I've heard that. I mean, I hear that saves a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's what, 20 or 25 books.
At least, yeah, 25 book minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was this close to doing it before everything went crazy, because I just wanted to test it out.
Okay.
And like you said, you know, I heard some good things. I remember I actually saw it first on like Very Gary. You know,
Yeah.
he did that and showed the whole process, and it was a
Oh
win.
yeah. Gary's my guy, man. He uses that very well. He actually give him a sub up too, folks. He's got a great show. Breaks down how he buys collections and prepares them for sale. Does a fantastic job with it.
So yeah, so I just wanted to show you all CGC and those times, because I've only dealt with CBCS for one of my books in the past, like when I was first getting going. I had a Young Avengers #1, the sketch variant, but it wasn't the Wizard. So it was you know, I found it raw, and it was autographed by the artist. So that's what sent me to CBCS, because, you know, you don't have to have somebody there with you. They verify it. And so I was able to do that through CBCS, and it came back at 8.5. So it wasn't quite what I wanted. So, you know, I ended up, you know, some of the books back then I treated like fishing. You know, I catch a fish, it might be a small fish, so I put it back in the water. You know, hopefully it goes to someone else within the community. But I was able to use that towards something bigger, you know, a big book that I was working on. But I had no complaints with CBCS, man. Even though they graded a little harder, it felt like, but I mean, that's good, you know, in my eyes, because it gives me more things to look at, more things to look for. And you know, everybody was saying, like, you know, because we all were saying that it got a little tougher working with them, it felt like. But now you have a lot more people going to CBCS, because the turnaround time is a little bit faster now than CGC, right?
Yeah, and
But
that
still,
yeah, and that verification is a big deal. A lot of folks who have signed books that weren't witnessed at the time of the signing send them to CBCS for the signature verification. Now, there was something that we saw, was it this week, with a gentleman that said he did an experiment where he forged or fraudulently signed someone else's signature on a comic book, and was able to get past the technology, the software. So it raised some eyebrows. You know, how true is the story? We don't know. I mean, you know, he you know, that's like anybody coming out to say anything. You know what I mean? But you know, I'd like to really confirm that, you know, before we start. You know, I wanted to mention that in this video, in this show, because you know, you guys are going to hear about that soon if you haven't already heard about it. So make sure you double check your sources and all that.
Exactly.
Too.
And see, that's a good one. See, I hadn't even heard of that. So I mean, that's awesome. You know, it's like you said, it's great to stay informed, because that's how you know what's going on a daily basis. You know, this is the community that we're involved in, and it's also great to share that information, so it doesn't happen to, you know, someone we know, someone just getting into the hobby. You know, because that's a bad feeling, man, to have that happen. You know,
right? Let's look at that reholder, man. 68 days.
Yeah.
Just to have a reholder. I remember it was like within a week.
Yeah.
Just to have a reholder done. Wow. I have a few of those that I need done.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you that I probably got like 6 books.
Yeah, because now all the slabs are different,
Right. Hip
and you
Hop's
can,
and me, Steve. Thanks for coming through, brother. We appreciate you.
yeah, man, this has been awesome, dude. But remember how we were talking earlier? We're definitely gonna have to have a part 2 with this, man, because
Yeah, because
we
we
can
got.
go
I mean,
all
there's a
day.
lot more that we want to cover, but I know for time purposes, there's we can't cover everything in a show, right? I mean,
Yeah. So lastly, I know another thing that we were talking about with the market was with the cons, and you and a lot of other community members had an awesome opportunity to go to a terrific con, and I've been seeing different things on that, and I just wanted to get your feedback. Of being there, what you thought about it. I know it's later in the game as far as we're talking about it right now, but it plays into the market value,
yes.
which is what we've been going over.
Absolutely, that's a great point. So when I was out west first, before I did Terrificon, I missed TorpedoCon. I heard that was a really dope experience. I saw a lot of folks out there through social media who attended it. So I had to leave because I had to get back, come home for a few, and then to head to Terrificon. So Terrificon was at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. It's about maybe less than an hour north of New Haven, if you just to give for those who don't know. Mohegan Sun was an awesome place to have it. It's a casino, huge casino with that kind of entertainment, along with all the restaurants and bars in there. The place was jam packed, sold out, and so I went. There was a Friday to Sunday event. It was my second show for the year. The first show I went to was a Little Giant show in New Hampshire. So which was pretty awesome too. So it was really cool because I'd already started the momentum with the cons going to that smaller show late spring or early whenever that was, a few months ago. Actually, there's a Little Giant show coming up, I believe, this weekend back in New Hampshire. I won't be able to attend that, but yeah, Terrificon was fantastic, man. With COVID going on, obviously that's still the remnants of COVID. The space was huge. And and I'm not sure if it was because there weren't as many folks who wanted to. Yes, sir, Hyper. Yeah, my man. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming through. I wasn't. I'm not sure if they just, dealers didn't want to take the risk. That many people didn't want to take the risk of bringing their books and stuff to during COVID or this whatever, like conversation with COVID, but. Or it was just the requirement for the facility for the convention center was if that they were just maxed out with the number of booths that they would allow they would allow. So, but nonetheless, there was still a lot of folks. I'm just said that just to kind of give you an idea. It was spaced out, is what I'm saying. It was a lot safer than and as far as more spread out than the pre-COVID cons. So a lot of folks there, thousands of people. It was awesome to catch up with folks that I had met at the Little Giant show in New Hampshire. So a lot of those folks were there as well. The Warriors, Pressable Defects, Gary, a lot of other cats. But this time I was able to and to TN. Peace, man. So I was able to finally meet up with folks I hadn't met before. Moonlit Comics, Michelle, No Good, Justin, Ex-Illusionary, you know what I mean? Comic Book Nostalgia. All these folks, man, it was amazing, and it was the same thing again. Because we've all been communicating through these platforms, and it was really just like. Okay, finally we're doing this, and there was all trust, you know what I mean? It was fantastic. Yeah. So,
that's awesome.
And, and as far as books, I didn't buy any books, but I did look through some books at some of the booths. A lot of the dealers had some stuff, man, and they, you can negotiate and stuff, but I thought there was a good selection of books. You had some nice selection of slabs and raw books. Gary had a pretty dialed in booth, man. Like I said, friends with him, and he was he had a nice selection of keys, man, and price to sell. I saw Erod. Actually, I've met Erod at New Hampshire. Nice. I've met BX Boxer for the first time as well.
Okay.
and many other folks, man. But yeah. So anyway, the con was good. It was, as far as interacting with folks, it was so joyous as far as everybody finally get to meet and get together.
That's
I
awesome.
think, yeah, it was fantastic. But in the same breath, it's like, okay, as the demand for cons increases, and moving forward, even like the Baltimore con coming up, and other cons, Emerald City and C2E2. It's really, in my opinion, based on the experiences that I've had in the last two shows that I've been to, is really be disciplined with your time, because as these things continue to go on, it's a social scene, right? I mean, the comic community is dope. It's
Right.
fantastic. So we're all trying to hang out. You know what I mean? So it's just
Yeah.
really an opportunity to socialize with the comic fam, but as well as making sure that if you have goals for the con as far as picking up books, make sure that you make time to do that. And you may want to, it's several ways to do that, right? You may want to allocate certain hours of the day to specifically go in there and go hard as far as going through bins and
Yeah.
going through booths and really being active, searching for the keys or books that you need to complete your runs or whatever you're looking for.
Have a game plan together. I remember Michelle was being interviewed and she discussed that on Comic Book Canon. Yeah, and she was like, she went in there, had a game plan, and she was able to get one of the books that she really wanted to get, along with some other books at great deals. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's a fact, man. Yeah, she was on point with that for sure. You got to have your goals.
yeah. It's crazy. So I just been Googling, while we've been talking, as far as, different conventions and things, other ones coming up in the future. I know you and I were talking about C2E2 and Emerald City in Seattle, but it's tons. And you see now they're opening back up. It's not as red and orange
Ah,
like it was at the top of the screen. So yeah, I just Googled like comic book conventions 2021,
wow.
and yeah, it's amazing, man. I hope it stays this way,
Right,
because
right. Well, and that's the variable, right? That's the wild card right now with society, with COVID and variants, and not comic variants, Delta variant, and these type
yeah,
of whatever's going on in the world here, and are things going to close back up? Are things going to continue to open up? I mean, we're all still kind of at mercy to the whatever the government decides to do as far as
yeah,
regulations and policies. So, but in the meantime, we're all planning to still do it to make it happen
yeah,
and get to these cons.
yeah.
What's this? Desire? How are the prices? Were they as crazy as online, or do you think this will correct the market a bit? When you say cons, so yeah, so I think that prices were, folks know their prices, right? I mean, dealers know their prices. Dealers know what market prices are. There's no secret in that. The data is out there, right? I mean, that with the formulation of these different sites and the software available at our fingertips, we all do it now, right? We're going to these, we're looking at books and we're pulling out our phones and we're looking up, pricing. So just as easily as we could do that, they're doing it full time. So, they know the prices, but they also know that they need to move product, right? So they need to move books. So, the folks who want to move them, they price them well. So I will say, yeah, there were some booths were priced better than others. Obviously they got to cover their overhead. You know what I mean? So, the folks, so the dealers who I would say, like guys who are buying collections pretty much and doing really well with that have higher profit margins or room to get the boots and work with you a lot more. So, but you'll only know that in conversation at the time, at the cons, at that specific booth with that specific dealer.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of having a conversation, knowing your numbers too, right? You got to have that homework done ahead of time. So
Seriously.
when you're in having that conversation, you are T. Ravis, my man. When you're having that conversation with the dealer, or dealers, you already have that homework done, so you can close that deal quicker. Because if you got to sit there and say, hold up, let me look at my phone, let me go into my phone and start doing all of that, then guess what? You've lost every bit of leverage that you think you had. So know the books you want, like Eric said, have a game plan, do the homework on the books that you want, and the pricing on the grades that you want, raw grades and the slab grades, and go in there prepared. And that's basically what I got to say about how, as far as pricing.
Nice. Well, man, we're definitely gonna have to do this again, man.
Oh yeah.
We had a lot more things prepared, so we will be having a part 2 with Desired Comics, Nigel, and we'll be chatting about some more things within the comic book community. And man, really appreciate everyone that came out in the chat. You all are awesome. Man, means a lot. Means a lot. And this is the type of stuff I really want to get more of, more information, more things and tools for us to work with, so we can grow the community and get stronger, as a comic book community. So man, Desire, Nigel, any last words, any thoughts?
Yeah, I want to say thanks for everybody who's checking this in the live stream and on the replay. We appreciate the time. Thanks, Eric, for having me on your show. It's amazing to be, on the first live stream. I believe this is the first live stream.
This is official first.
Oh man, here we go.
Tuesday,
yes, sir.
Man.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I appreciate you allowing me to be on your platform and chat with you, man. I mean, I think this, from what we've discussed, prior to the show and today, I love it, man. I love how you have your approach to, how your show is going to be, allowing folks in the community to really, basically do them. You know what I'm saying? And, we all got strong points, and, just having those topics and being able to elaborate on them, it's a big deal. So thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks for everybody watching the replay. Eric, thanks again, brother. I appreciate you, man. And, we'll keep collecting, and let's looking forward to part 2 of this.
Exactly. Well, shout out everyone. You are definitely, if you're not following Nigel already, go to Instagram. I'll put it in the link. You have Desired Comics. That's at Desired Comics. And then you also have Desired Comic Shop, because Nigel has books. So hit them up, take a look, and we want to build this community so we can start networking with each other, buying, selling, and trading. And we know it's a reputable source, so that was another thing that I wanted to bring and introduce. And shout out to everybody. Keep up, because you never know where Tiger Tuesdays might be. We might be on Instagram. We might be on YouTube. We might have a sale or auction. You don't know what's going on with Tiger Tuesdays. You just know something's going to be going on. So shout out to everybody, and can't wait to see you all again. Have a good one, and thank you for watching. Also, thank you for watching on the replay. Take care.
Peace.